A few days ago, I unboxed this new VHS tape, and now I've watched it, so here's my review!
Lost in space, an alien race, trapped in orbit with no escape, watching films from Earth's display, passing time from day to day. Stuck in orbit, what can I do? A movie marathon will have to do. From drama to horror and comedy too, an alien cinema will break through.
So this week, Terrifier 2 came out on VHS and was sold exclusively at Walmart, and it was so cool, and everybody's like, I gotta get my hands on that, and I finally got my hands on that, and then I watched it, and now this is my review on Terrifier 2 on VHS. Now this is not a review on Terrifier 2 in general, this is just a comparison between the original release and the VHS release. How does it compare? Is it better? Is it worse? Let me tell you. So first off, let me tell you what exactly is on here. After watching it, I can tell you exactly what you can look forward to when you buy yourself Terrifier 2 on VHS. It starts off with a trailer for Terrifier 3. It's more like a teaser trailer. You don't get any sort of details about what the story is other than it takes place during Christmas. Then you have a short message from Damien Leone, the director. And he's basically just talking about how much he loves VHS and how much this movie deserves a VHS release. Emphasizes the aesthetic of VHS. And this whole time he's sitting in front of a shelf of DVDs. So far, actually nothing really special. You can look up that teaser trailer online already. It's not a big deal. And that special message from Damien Leone is actually really not all that special. It's nothing that we didn't already know. He didn't bring anything new to the plate. But then we get into the movie. And I feel like that's where this really shines. I'm going to be 100% honest. A few months ago, I tried watching Terrifier 2. I did not actually enjoy it, and I never actually finished it. I'm not going to say it's unwatchable, but it has such a low quality, super indie type of feel, kind of like camcorder type of recording, that it just, I don't want to sound pretentious, but it wasn't really worth my time. And it was also super long. This movie is 2 hours and 18 minutes long. Okay, for a slasher movie, it's so long. Halfway through, I called it quits. I said, like, this is kind of stupid. It's boring. But on VHS, he does something special. One thing I was interested in is, what does a brand new VHS look like? Because I haven't seen a brand new VHS in like 20 years. This is not a good example of what a brand new VHS looks like because this movie has been modified specifically to look like an older movie. It kind of puts like a lo-fi filter over the whole thing, plus it's being projected to standard definition because it's VHS, so it's not even HD. Also, it's been modified to be a 4:3 instead of widescreen. It's more like full screen. And so it looks very, very different from the original. And I have to tell you, it looks better than the original. While the first one I felt like wasn't even worth my time, this one I sat through the whole thing, no problem, and actually enjoyed it a lot more. I almost like this movie. I've never been a big fan of the Terrifier series, but after watching this on VHS, it kind of resembles like the old Dario Argento type of Italian slasher movies, which is something that I really enjoyed and really appreciated. Now, after the movie, we have a little featurette showing an early screening of the movie, and that was also kind of lame. I'm not gonna lie. It was like, why am I watching this? I thought it was going to be more of like a featurette, like a behind-the-scenes type of documentary or something like that. No, it was just a screening, and basically, the audience watch Terrifier 2. But the issue is that this was at like a horror convention, and so the audience watching Terrifier 2 were horror fans, which means that you aren't going to get the whoa or the throwing up or like the freaking out, because these people are people who actually like these types of movies. And so you basically just see the audience just sitting there watching the movie, just enjoying it. It was just kind of boring. So basically just like, why is that in here? So all of the featurettes and extra stuff in here, not actually worth it. One thing that I noticed about these tapes is that they don't use up all the tape. So usually on a movie, the movie has just enough tape. And so when it runs out of tape, it automatically rewinds. This movie, though, it's got an issue with it, which is it seems like this is basically an empty VHS tape that they just recorded the movie onto without adjusting the length of the tape. And so when the movie runs out, there's still a ton of tape left here, which means it's never going to rewind automatically until you watch all of it, which means that there's about 20 to 30 minutes of blank tape at the end. And it is literally blank tape. My TV shows the sign says no signal, and that usually happens when I put in a blank VHS tape that's got nothing on it. It says no signal because it's like literally no video signal coming off of it. So I have a theory that this is actually just a blank VHS tape, okay? It's like one of these. It's like, just a blank VHS tape that you put in, and then you press record, and then it just records the movie onto it. I'm a little disappointed. That makes it seem a little more cheap. And this movie is not cheap. This is $30. $30 for this movie. And they just recorded it onto blank VHS tapes. There's nothing really special about this release, as far as that goes. I even tried fast forwarding to it to make sure that I wasn't missing anything. And yeah, there's nothing on the end. And also, if you look closely at the pattern of the grid that's on here, that texture, this is very standard. There's really nothing special about this type of texture on here. This is on like 90% of all VHS tapes. So this is a very standard tape. There's nothing special about it. Really, the only thing special about this release is basically the aesthetic of the movie. And I feel like this type of aesthetic, having it be with like the lo-fi filter and it through a VCR in order to get kind of like that graininess, that is the way this movie was supposed to be watched originally. So I would say that it's better to watch it on VHS than to watch it on streaming or on DVD or Blu-ray. But is it actually worth the $30? I would say no. It's not worth $30. It's very interesting. It's kind of a novelty. And I'm glad to have it in my collection, but I would say that it's definitely overpriced for what it is. I would have liked to have seen more exclusive content on there, like behind the scenes, like a making of. I think everybody is really interested in kind of the gore effects and like the practical effects in these movies. And I think people really want to see the behind the scenes and how it's done and everything like that. And I feel like there's a real missed opportunity because there's a lot of extra space on these tapes that is just blank. But with that, what do you think? Did you actually get a hold of the VHS release? Let me know what you think. And with that, I'm going to say Captain's Log out.